Alrighty, guys, we're back for Pirate Aggro, and this is an Outlaws at Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. We got 3, Malcolm the Eyes. This is a 2-mana 2/2 legendary creature, rockin' flying and haste, and whenever you cast your second spell each turn, investigate. Beautiful. That clue's gonna go the extra mile because this is also like an artifact build as well. So we have like all 4 Gleeful Demolitions. The deck should know how to go wide pretty well overall. Also fitting that artifact theme, we have Captain Storm. So this is a 2-mana 2/2 legendary creature, and when an artifact ETBs, you put a +1/+1 counter on target pirate you control. That happens to be pretty darn good if you're putting it in the air on like Malcolm or like Spyglass Siren, for example. All 4 of these, of course, making the cut. Those map tokens, of course, are artifacts. Not fitting the pirate theme, but fitting that artifact theme, we got Voldaren Epicure in here too, the blood token, of course, being an artifact. Got all 4 Reckless Lackeys for pirates, but then also the bottom ability we've actually used a few times. For a 2 and a red, you can sacrifice this, draw a card, and create a treasure token, so definitely noteworthy. Outside of that, just having First Strike and Haste is not half bad. You got some burn packed in with all 4 Play with Fires, also top end of Witchstalker Frenzy. In this build, since we are going wide and swinging with a lot of creatures, it hopefully just cost 1 mana. More often than not, it might cost like 2 mana. Even so, doing 5 damage for a 2 mana is not half bad. More pirates fitting that artifact theme as well. Goblin Tomb Raider. It's going to have haste very, very often in here. Restocking our hand nicely with Chart a Course this time around. This could probably be your card draw of choice. It is sorcery speed, draw 2, then discard a card. Unless you attacked this turn, and I plan on attacking like every turn, so I think Chart a Course is going to keep our hand nice and stocked. At sorcery speed, of course, you're doing it in your second main phase, so you're stocking up your hand for the next turn, which happens to be fine and dandy when you're rocking hasty creatures. On the top end of the build, we got a couple of Kitesail Larcenist, just acting as excellent removal. We got a couple of Breeches, Eager Pillager, because it would be pretty silly if we didn't have Breeches in here. So we got a couple of Outlaws Fury as well, since we are going wide quite effectively. This is going to do a thing, man. So for 3 mana at instant speed, creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. If you control an outlaw, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Honestly, you probably won't get a chance to play that card because if you pull off a good Outlaws Fury, you're probably just winning that turn anyways. In the mana base, of course, Soaring City, Crucible of Defiance, we're opting for the fast land with the Reef and the Canal, and then also we have a Cavern of Souls, calling Pirate more often than not, and then also a Mirrex in here too to fit that artifact theme. Honorable mentions, guys. Voltage Surge almost made the cut, of course. Scallywag did not make the cut this time, surprisingly. Zoetic Glyph could have been a pretty cool one in here. The new Breeches, the Blastmaster, also could have been pretty cool in here, maybe as like a one-of or something. The Zephyr Singer almost made the cut, as well as Stoke the Flames, because I think these Convoke cards could do the thing since we're rocking all 4 Gleeful Demolitions. Just couldn't find room for them this time, and sometimes I do think they're going to be a little bit slower than what the deck is trying to do. Okay, guys, I like to go ahead and save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. Of course we do. Awesome. All right, what am I expecting from the build? Honestly, a little bit, not gonna lie. A lot of neat synergies in here. I think it's definitely gonna do the aggro thing nicely. This is a good first hand too. Keeping this. Probably just start with the Epicure for the blood token. That way we have that with the Gleeful Demolition. Of course, we'd want to turn 2 play Goblin Tomb Raider Swing before popping the blood token. Play with Fire our face. Okie dokies. We also have Malcolm for the turn too, which isn't bad to set up for next turn. I guess that's actually pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, going wide this turn, like getting that swing with the Tomb Raider, but now we'll get the extra Investigate off the Malcolm since we took the turn for setup. Oh, Malcolm's not going to survive though. Oh, that's something to consider. See if I would have just went wide instead. Okay, now we can do Malcolm Tomb Raider on the same turn. Keep the Demolition. Yeah, mana off the top was pretty good. And Tomb Raider has the haste because of the blood token, so we do that. Get the Investigate as well. We'll swing. Fun is down to 11, but at any point this could start heavily leaning towards red. Because, yeah, they could, I mean, you guys know mono red. They could really just pop off. Luckily, it looks like they don't have their third mana. Play with Fire on the Malcolm. That's a Play with Fire that's not hitting our face, which is pretty significant. Monstrous Rage, yep. Down to 10. All right. Another Gleeful Demolition. Not bad, honestly. It really isn't. We'd probably do both of those for the turn, right? Just go wide instead of the Lackey. Lackey will have haste next turn. So we start with the swing. Swing for 3. And get a whole bunch of chump blockers down. Tomb Raider's going to lose his +1, but I mean, let's be real. 6 goblins hitting the board is much better than the +1 on the Tomb Raider, right? That we have a hasty Lackey too. Honestly, the opponent might be on the defense for the turn. But we'll see, Yeah, they definitely want to keep at least one blocker back, but then we'll still get through, so they might need more burn. But triple Play with Fire already there in the grave. Down to 9. Kamano. I believe that's it. Oh, they don't even save the blocker, so we have 8 on the board anyways. That was their way of conceding, I suppose. GG opponent. I would have loved to attack in though. No, I understand. I understand, buddy. Malcolm off the top is huge, dude. But we only have 3 Malcolms in here. That was all 3. But yeah, just like another hasty creature in the air. Then the Lackey comes down. We investigate again. The Tomb Raider gets another buff. That's kind of crazy, dude. Honestly. Good stuff. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Getting there against mono red, of course, will always feel good. I mean, pretty much getting there against any deck always feels good because victories are so hard to come by sometimes. I was thinking, are there like more satisfying victories? And yes, definitely. Against control and like a long game of control where the opponent just thinks that they got you. Those are like the most satisfying victories. A good hand too. I like these curves. Opponent goes first this time. Let's go ahead and keep this. Oh, they have their own canal and a Swift Spear. I guess we'll go Epicure. I'd rather, if we needed to chump for some reason, I'd rather chump with Epicure over Siren, since Siren has that evasion. Malcolm, what? Bro, mirror match. Okay, I'll take the 3. I was not expecting a mirror match today, except we don't have Swift Spear in the build. Oh, this is a lot of mana. All right, let's just copy the opponent for now and hope that they don't absolutely explode our face next turn. Which I suppose is very possible, huh? And a Swift Spear build with the Malcolm, like Monstrous Rage and stuff, is probably in here. They go ahead and keep the 3 open. Maybe just a counterspell. More land, but thank goodness for utility mana, huh? Try the Witchstalker Frenzy for 2 mana if we swing, and then play the Siren. They counter the Frenzy. Which one would we prefer that they counter here? The Siren, maybe? If it even is a counter spell, it might not be. All right, go for the swing. Attempt the Frenzy on the Malcolm. Is the Malcolm even that big of a threat? I don't know. Is the Swift Spear actually worse here? Yeah, I'm gonna take the Malcolm. That was my first instinct. And it's something in the air too. Oh, could be some protection then for the Malcolm. Even so, at least we get that investigate. Oh, Tidebinder taking the Malcolm's ability out of the equation. So we don't get that investigate. Honestly, that investigate really would have come in handy, huh? When we're seeing so much mana. Like that extra card draw. But the blood token and the map token might still come in handy. We are taking a lot of damage. Let's see what happens. Okay, down to 9. The opponent hasn't dropped anything fancy on the Swift Spear or anything yet. Slick shot show off. That should be scary. Gleeful Demolition, not bad. Oh, the Tidebinder even takes the Malcolm out of the air too, yeah. Kind of cool. I'm gonna keep the Malcolm as a blocker on the ground. Crucible for 3 and Gleeful Demolition, as long as we get to keep the Malcolm. Because that's the legendary that's making the Crucible cost 3. So actually, I'm gonna go full swing. See what happens. They have 2. They have the show off in the air regardless. As long as we can block on the ground. Well, that's me assuming that they're going to give trample in the air to the show off when it comes time. So maybe I should have kept this Siren as the chump blocker. Oh, really tough decisions, man. All right, let's pop the blood token because an extra counter next turn off the map token could be pretty good. And then Crucible of Defiance will also be even more tokens on their turn. Yeah, I probably should have kept the Spyglass Siren in the air, huh? Because it's not like it has trample on its own. I was just assuming for no reason. Dual swing coming in. All right, Crucible of Defiance. So if we just chump and monster, they have 2 cards left in hand. We have to anticipate a Monstrous Rage at least. They would want to go trample on the Swift Spear. Let the show off buff in the air anyways. They're at 9. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8, 9 with the Malcolm plus the map token. I'm just going to chump. If we die here, we die here. I think it is what it is. No, I'll try to take out the Tidebinder to get the Malcolm back in the air maybe. I don't know. Tough decisions, man. I think there's a good chance of dying, I would say. Unless they're missing the Monstrous Rage. Yeah, I guess we could have like fully blocked the Monastery Swift Spear. They go ahead and Lightning Strike. Instead of hitting our face, they go ahead and take out our Malcolm to make sure they survive next turn. Goblin Tomb Raider. Oh man, so first of all, missing that Monstrous Rage tells me it's not in their hand. Like the fact that they didn't play it that turn and then just go Lightning Strike to our face too, because that would have been death. We're going to keep that Siren back to block in the air. So we will get the Tomb Raider down, and he has haste as long as we keep the map. So I say instead of activating the map, it's better just to swing with that. I guess there's no reason to keep the mountain in hand unless we see another Epicure. I guess that's fine too. Blocker on the ground, blocker in the air. We're at 6. It's still a great chance of death, so I'm going to risk swinging with 3 of these guys. Oh, man. Yeah, and I'll keep the mountain in case we see, like, Epicure. I'll trade that out with a blood token or something. Which actually... Yeah, that's something to consider, because I popped the blood token with the Gleeful Demolition. They're going to burn the Siren. Good swing in the... Oh, they're actually going to bounce it back. So now, all they need to do is take care of this Epicure, and it's going to be game with the prowess. Oh. I guess it... I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said, high chance of death here, but for some reason, we're just not dead yet. Dude. What is it, opponent? Shore up. That's going to be 6 in the air. GG, buddy. Oh, man. I really think that that could have gone either way. Kind of, like I called it a mirror match at the beginning, but, you know, they're rocking, like, Izzet Spellslinger, which is pretty close. It's pretty close to what we're rocking. Got them down to 5. They did go first. We got a little lucky that they didn't see, like, a Monstrous Rage early on. And I probably could have played it out a little better too. Guys, I honestly, yeah, that could have gone either way. For sure. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. It seems to be playing out well enough so far. I think in that game, one of our Charter Course would have really helped out too. Because we were attacking pretty well. I think restocking our hand with the Charter Course would have been awesome. We go first. Not a lot of our 1-drops, but there's so many 1-drops packed in. And I don't think this is a mulligan, right? It's a little slow. No, I can't complain too much because sometimes it gets much worse. So we should keep this. Gleeful Demolition, okay. Call Pirate. Malcolm. Get that swing. So Malcolm number 2 not doing anything, so we're really hoping for something great on the Charter Course here. Iron Craig. Oh, Reckless Lackey. Okay, sweet. That's good. Good enough for me. Get that down, nice and hasty. In for 3. Oh. And Charter Course. Restock our hand. Investigate. Verify our Charter Course, nice. Nice. Synthesizer. Instead of Gleeful Demolition on our stuff, I believe we take out that synthesizer, huh? So Epicure isn't bad. Yeah, no matter what, we have to pop that synthesizer. And then probably Charter Course again. Swing for 3. We get another Investigate. We're going up to 6 cards in hand. Ooh, very nice. I think we play this to get it ready. The opponent could run into a turn 4 to populate, but if they do, it is what it is. Like, it's not too bad. Synthesizer number 2 coming down. We have like maybe a couple turns to get there, or to find like another Gleeful Demolition. Yeah, once again, all of the Malcolms being drawn this game. Very, very weird. I'm going to keep that to trade out to the blood token when it comes time. Malcolm number 2. Of course, is going to hit this table. It's probably going to be Play with Fire on the same turn. Although we could do the blood token first. Because it could affect something. I don't know what it could affect, but it could affect something. Kitesail Larcenist. Not bad. I guess we could have Scryed first. But I probably would have kept the Larcenist on top anyways. I want to do Play with Fire now to get the Investigate on the Malcolm. We do not need land. The opponent's down to 5, and they have Synthesizer established. Luckily, Witchstalker Frenzy should be able to deal enough damage to the Synthesizer token, unless they get 2 of them somehow. Oh, Steel Seraph is such bad news. Oh, no. Okay, see, that's still a 5/5, though, so that's good. Goblin Tomb Raider is really good, man. So they have the 2 mana over here, so we definitely need to play this out properly. If we go Larcenist, take something out of the equation. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not enough. It's going to be Tomb Raider. Right? Witchstalker Frenzy. That's still only 4 damage. Oh, crap. If we just swing in the air... Crap, maybe I should have just doubled down on removal, like Larcenist. Hold up. Hold up. We can double down on removal still, because it's a Larcenist, turn a clue into treasure. And turn, like... let's go with their Steel Seraph, maybe. Into treasure. Then we go full swing. Witchstalker Frenzy's 1. Pop the 5/5. GG opponent. No counterspell, nothing. That was good stuff, man. I almost overlooked the fact that we were about to turn something into a treasure off the Larcenist for ourselves, too. Excellent stuff. Very, very good. Yeah, I was trying to find a way through. I thought we were only going to get 4 damage through for the turn. And if we would have given the opponent one more turn, especially with the Steel Seraph, something noteworthy here, guys. Wait a minute. And yeah, instead of going Steel Seraph as the treasure, we probably should have turned the 5/5 into the treasure. Because there's like a really small chance here that they could have had another flash artifact, flashed the artifact down, and made the construct a 6/6. Yeah, so definitely watch out for that, right? Because I played that out of order for sure. So instead of Steel Seraph, Larcenist, pick up the 5/5, and then the Steel Seraph is just a 3/3. Still a small chance of like a counterspell, or I doubt they would have had a way to buff the Seraph. But either way, then the 5 damage could have hit that. So, okay. Yeah, luckily it still ended up working out in our favor, but definitely could have optimized those plays. I only saw it after the fact there. Good stuff, man. Let's keep the ball rolling. What else? What other decks do we want the opponents to bring to the table? What else could we try to prove the Pirates against? Oh, we got Breeches in here. Oh, this is a mulligan, right? Like, we go first. We have to find something way more aggressive than this. Yes, I believe so. Okay, here we go. Let's keep... What do we send? Do we just want a large variety? Send a Tomb Raider? Since Breeches is in hand, I'm going to keep all the pirates, and we'll send Epicure. That's what we'll do. I suppose we start with Siren to get the map token, and then we can double down on Tomb Raider next turn. Which is a pretty good turn too, man. A spear. Hi. No blocks. Okay, we find our 3rd mana for turn 3. That's good news. Swing for 5. We'll do our dandiest to keep up against Gruul. Potentially just Gruul Explosion, right? If Swift Spear is in the list, then you pretty much guarantee that Slickshot Show-Off is going to be in that list too. So, you know, sometimes by turn 3, you're really sweating. So hopefully we can just get the opponent to sweat enough here. Like, Breeches is going to be excellent. Because if they keep any blockers back, or if they start to get scared, then we can start taking those blockers out of the equation. The treasure tokens are going to be fine, but that bottom ability might really come in handy here. There's Slickshot Show Off. Oh yeah, and they took the turn to set that up. Yep, Breeches is coming down. Get that established. Swing. Get all 3 abilities. Now, we can only play this card this turn. There's a good chance that we see a 1-drop, though. So, treasure token. Swift Spear can't block. It was tapped anyways. since it's an untapped treasure token and there's so many 1-drops packed in, I am going to exile the top. Epicure. There we go. Not bad, dude. And we play it. Yeah, we need as much on this board as possible. Opponent's down to 9. Not bad. So, if the opponent drops their 3rd mana, brings in their free Slickshot Show-Off, their 3rd mana if it's a red, right? If they go like Monstrous Rage on the Swiftspear and the Show-Off, I mean, they have a forest open at that point too. It could be like any amount of protection, Tamiyo Safekeeping, something like that. Buffs the prowess, buffs the Show-Off again. That'd be, what's the math there? An extra 3 for each rage, an extra 6 for the Show-Off, and an extra 3 for the Swiftspear. I lost track of all the numbers that I just said. It's a lot of damage is what I'm getting at. If they actually do that, it's gonna be Swiftspear number 2. But luckily, the doubling down of Monstrous Rages is not gonna happen this turn. We do get that free Show-Off down on the board. Rocking the Thran Portal here just for more early land. You know, it's one of those decks that's trying to end the game very, very early, so Thran Portal does make sense to me. Okay. Which blockers do we... Which blocker do we want to take out of the equation? With 2 open, we got to anticipate some spot removal here too. And spot removal, their whole board gets a buff. We're just gonna go wide. I'm probably going to let them keep the Show-Off, because if their Show-Off gets a buff, it still just has like the 2 toughness, whereas the Swiftspears, they're gonna go up to 3 regardless. So like it would be a trade into the Malcolm or letting the 2 from the Malcolm get through. Yep, the board state is nice and wide. If it's Lightning Strike, they want to hit the Breeches before we swing. And that would be really, really good for them. Doesn't look like it's a Lightning Strike. Breeches doing all this real quick. It's only once, though. Like, we don't get to do them all over again. So I'm going to take a Swiftspear out of the equation. And yeah, there's still a chance of seeing a 1-drop, so I am going to do that. It is a land. Not bad. I'm on the edge of my seat, opponent. What do you have? What is it? Yeah, with the Thran Portal too, if it's a Lightning Strike, they are going to be taking 1 damage. Or if it's anything for 2 mana that takes the Thran Portal, they're going down to 8 here. We're pretty wide. They're going to have to chump the Breeches. It'd probably be a chump on the Malcolm as well. Oh, Hexproof for the Swiftspear that we targeted with the Breeches. They're in this, guys, because they have a terrific block now at 3-4. Haha, nice, dude. Nice. So then they can block in the air the Siren and take 6 here. 7. So we might die next turn. Uh-oh. Oh, I still miscounted somewhere. Right? What were they at? Yeah, they only took 6. Dude, we might die. We do have 2 mana for the Investigate if we want to draw, but I guess we can do that on their turn. Map token as well. All right. Let's see it, opponent. I'll tell you what, the Hexproof for the Swiftspear was not something I was anticipating at all, especially them getting it to the point where it can actually block the Breeches successfully. Even though I was still thinking like, oh, like Tamiyo Safekeeping could be in there. It's just not something I was thinking about with the Breeches target. So I don't know, man. It was probably still a full swing, right? Right? I don't know. I don't know. They have to be very careful here. Once they tap the Thran portal, they're going down to 1, so that doesn't matter as long as they can win the game this turn, which I think there's a good chance that they could win, honestly, even if they don't drop their 4th mana. They could easily have a lineup here. It could be like play with fire, another Tyvar stand that just buffs everything. Okay. Okay, let's see what they find to use on that Thran portal. Could be Monstrous Rage. It's going to be a play with fire. They have 7 on the board, 2 on the play with fire. That's 4 more there, right? So why am I getting lost in the numbers right now? I don't think they can go play with fire to face and win. I think we'd go down to 1 and then we'd swing next turn. And then they'd be at 1 too, so this would be a tremendously close game. Yeah, I think that's 14 damage. Yes, they have... No, that was 13 damage. Yeah, I'm getting lost in the numbers for some reason today. I apologize, guys. Now, also going down to 2. For some reason, 2 turns in a row, I'm thinking the opponent and I had 1 more damage. GG opponent. Very, very close game. That could have easily been theirs. Oh, buddy. Yeah. Woo. The rest of their hand, they had like 4 cards in hand. Must not have been too much since they went the questing druid route. All right, dude. As I like to say, let's keep the ball rolling. 1 more game, win or lose. I'm completely satisfied with how the deck has played out. Feels pretty good overall, I suppose. Is it better than like that Izzet Spellslinger? Honestly, probably not, because the Izzet Spellslinger's rocking like the Slickshot Show Off and the Monastery Swiftspear, which are just incredible cards. In that deck list too, they probably got that Monstrous Rage as well, so. But overall, like, it is playing out pretty good. I'm gonna keep this. It's a little bit of an iffy hand, but I also I don't mind it. There's a lot we can draw into that would make it incredible. Any of our 2-drops, any of our 1-drops. Yeah, beautiful. So we will start with the swing. Go wide. Epicure. And you know what would be sick off the top? Outlaws Fury. Could you imagine? Oh my goodness. Armored Scrap Gorger. Play with fire. So Larcenist? I mean, we have 2 of them. We might, I mean, we should play it regardless because the Ward 1's pretty good. But I'm going to turn this blood token into a treasure to use it with the play with fire here. We'll probably do that at the end of their turn. Every time I play with Kitesail Larcenist, dude, it's kind of wild. GG opponent, I completely understand. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. Like you kind of like swarm the board. And you know something that this deck does that the Izzet Prowess and Spellslinger doesn't do, right? Like we actually have, with all 4 Gleeful Demolitions, a great way against those synthesizer builds, which we've been seeing a lot of those synthesizer builds. And like popping that 1 synthesizer early in that 1 game, kind of just wild for us, wasn't it? It's good stuff, man. And I don't believe those Spellslinger decks run Gleeful Demolition because they don't have like a full-on artifact theme. But the one that we saw today did have that Malcolm in it, so I guess honestly anything's possible. Yeah, so we were about to go play with fire off the treasure, bring the opponent down to 10, scry away the land that's on top of the deck, if it's up there, right? Then we had a full swing, another 5, a 7. The opponent would be going down to 3. And then, of course, it depends what else we saw on top, too. We have a lot of hasty creatures packed in and everything. Like, yeah, if the opponent didn't have, like, any spot removal or anything in hand, for 4 mana, they had a little bit of ramp, so their hand must have been pretty bad. Guys, I'm just going to end on a high note. Usually I would say, like, oh, we're not too far into the video, but I have more to say about this build. I kind of already started the discussion, huh, while we were at the end there. Pirate aggro, and it's nice to end on high notes sometimes too. Sometimes I keep pushing and keep pushing, and then we get like a miserable loss at the end. That's just nice. Let's end on a victory. Even though it wasn't a full victory, it was probably about to be a full victory. Like I said, I understood the opponent's concede there. All right, dude, here's the deck list again. While I have you here at the end of the video, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. It does go the extra mile. And thank you to all my patrons. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are champions. And speaking of champions, if you made it this far into the video too, y'all are champions. Okay, what do we got here? Outlaws Fury, dude, this totally would have done a thing today. At pretty much like any time we saw this, we had to mulligan that one hand because it was too slow. We had like double Furies and like no one drops and stuff. But for real, the deck really just pooped the creatures onto the board and pooped them onto the board really effectively. I mean, that's going to happen when you have all 4 Gleeful Demolitions and just a ton of ways to pop your own artifacts. So Spyglass Siren, map tokens. Epicure, blood tokens. Malcolm, investigate clue tokens. Treasure tokens on the Breeches. Kitesail Larcenist, technically you could turn like one of your early 1-drops into an artifact treasure, right? And then pop it that way too, but you're not going to do that too often. What we ended up doing today with this is just turning the artifacts that were already there into treasures and then using that one treasure to play one of our 1-drops. Since we have so many of them, it was quite effective, especially like the play with fires and everything. Honestly, that's not too many ways to generate artifacts. I mean, it was enough ways for sure today. But as I was dragging them over here, I thought there was going to be a little bit more. Yeah. Not too many, but that's still a significant portion of the deck. Epicure and Siren. But between them, you know, being 8 cards, you're going to probably, hopefully, have at least one of these in your opening hand. Then at that point too, at any point, you see the Gleeful Demolition, or if you have that Gleeful Demolition in hand already, then you're fine and dandy. As far as the burn goes, like the Witchstalker Frenzy, yeah, we're swinging with so much all the time. Witchstalker Frenzy is going to be pretty cheap. There's going to be plenty of moments where you need to do 5 damage to something, and not 2 damage to something like Play with Fire. And that leads me to the Play with Fire edition, right? Of course, being 1 mana is very important. 2 damage just doesn't hit as much as you would think sometimes. And sometimes you just really need to do 3 damage. Does that mean Lightning Strike's the choice? No, because you want as many 1 mana cards as possible. You're getting untapped treasures off of Breeches. You're getting potential treasure conversion off of the Larcenist. So Play with Fire just makes a lot more sense, especially when you're not really looking at this as removal. You're looking at this as the additional way to get the last couple points of damage off of the opponent's face when they have a lot of blockers and stuff on the board too. Then the Scry one, of course, always goes that extra mile. Okay, what else? What else? Charter Course. It's the same concept, dude. We're swinging with so much all the time, and you want to be swinging like every turn in this deck, that this is like the perfect way to keep our hand nice and stocked up and actually put them into our hand rather than going like the red route and just exiling them and being able to cast them next turn or something instead. I like Charter Course. I think all 4 of these definitely fits. Also, Mirrex is another way to generate artifacts. There we go. Also, just more mana fixing for the list, too. Could we go up, like, another Cavern? It depends how many, like, counterspell decks you're running up against, which we see counterspells, but they're not as bad as they are sometimes, like, in the recent weeks or months, honestly. I don't know. If you run 2 caverns, you're going to get held up every now and then, because we do have, like if you see 2 caverns and an island, for example, like, sure, you'll be able to play whatever pirates you want, but now all of a sudden you can't play your Play with Fires, your Witchstalker Frenzies, or your Gleeful Demolitions. And so I think the 1 cavern makes sense, but that's going to be up to you guys as well. If you really think that 2 would be a little bit better, then it is something to consider. But overall, the mana base doesn't really need discussed. It kind of worked out beautifully overall. We got 35% red, 75% red, 35% blue. So the mana base split makes a good amount of sense. We got like 70% of the mountains in Crucible and 30% of the islands in Soaring cities with all the dual land as well. Captain Storm. It's only a 1 of in here. It makes sense that we wouldn't see it. And since we didn't see it, we, like, remember how I said, like, yeah, you're going to want to do 3 damage sometimes? Maybe this could just be a lightning strike, and you'd probably be completely happy with that. Or, for that matter, it could be your removal of choice. It could be even, like, a little bit of tempo, too. Some kind of blue tempo. Fading Hope, like another 1-drop could be pretty good. But I also like Captain Storm. It's only uncommon too. I think it's still worth trying out. The deck definitely performed well enough for me to say I'm not going to change anything with it. Just kind of like going over it, like the different things, especially based on what we saw today. And since we didn't see Captain Storm, it's one of those cards that we didn't get to test. It could easily be substituted out for something else, a card of your choice, right? So, or like the 3rd Breeches, for example. Breeches is pretty insane. Once you get the 3 mana, once Breeches is established, when you have this many, like 1-drop pirates and stuff, the pirates are already established on the board, turn 1, turn 2. So on turn 3, when you play the Breeches, Breeches is actually going to get a chance to do the thing on turn 3 because you're swinging with all your early pirates. Since you're doing the thing, you're getting a lot of like extra benefits like the treasure and everything. If you're swinging with 2 pirates, getting a treasure and then like exiling the top card, even on turn 3, just makes a lot of sense in this deck since we have, look at this, 24 1-mana cards, as well as 20 land too. So I guess it depends on the turn, right? If it is your turn 3, you already played the land for the turn. But in those games, it was definitely worth the risk of exiling the top card, for sure. Because even if we exiled something we couldn't play that turn, we wouldn't have been that sad about it. As far as like the Outlaws Fury, that's also something we could consider going up since we were successfully going wide often. And I think we're going wide fast enough to kind of get around like the Sunfall builds too. Sunfall being at 5 mana. I think that the opponent's significantly sweating by the time they drop their 4th mana. They're really hoping to have like a Depopulate or something. And a card that we do see pretty often too is actually Temporary Lockdown. That would be a pretty devastating card against this deck. Is there a way around the Temporary Lockdown? Not necessarily, unless you're already playing around it. Like you look at the opponent's mana base that they're playing or something, and you're like, well, it could be turn 3 Lockdown, and then you could play around that a little bit and like save like your Gleeful Demolitions or something. But Lockdown takes the artifacts too. I don't know, man. Yeah, Temporary Lockdown would probably devastate this build, but it might have a really good chance of reestablishing. But in a Temporary Lockdown style of deck, they start with the Lockdown, then they get enough mana established, then they go into the Sunfalls and the Farewells and all that other stuff too, so. All right, guys. Hey, enough rambling, huh? This list outperformed expectations. It was pretty darn good, man. I liked it. Definitely let me know in the comments what you thought of the list as well. One of the things I brought up in the video, is it equally as good as that Izzet Spellslinger we saw earlier? I'm still leaning towards probably not, because, you know, Show Off, Swift Spear, and Monstrous Rage are just kind of like insane. Like if you just put that shell, you could pretty much combine that with any other color combination and be pretty happy about it. But either way, hey, again, if you made it this far into the video, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.